Hey everybody, what's going on now? This Ray Rawlins of the Rawlins Network. Today, I will be reviewing episode 1 of The Promised Neverland. Now, before I start, I gotta say, man, I heard a lot about this anime. I watch for Neverworld. He does a lot of motherfucking anime reviews, as everyone in the anime community knows. And he's put me on to a hell of a lot of anime in the past. Like I mentioned in one of my podcasts that I did, the first episode of Rawlins. The reason why I like so many anime is because of him. And this anime especially just has a special feel to it, and I'm going to explain that as we get into it. So, with all that being said, let's get it started, man. Now, before the opening starts, we see a little scene with a bunch of kids just standing next to a fence, looking outside of it, and they're explaining that their mother is like, yo, man, you guys need to stay away from the fence. You know, this fence is supposed to keep you protected from what's on the outside world. Now, one of the kids, whose name is Ray, who we find out later, questions that theory. But I just like this scene especially because it gives you a little taste of like what this show might be about. It gives you a little level of intrigue, like, what can they be talking about? Like, what's beside that fence? Like, what's on the other side of that fence? What does that mean? You know, it's going to keep you on your toes. It's going to keep you thinking. It's going to keep you interested. So, at first, I always thought that scene meant nothing. But it's like, no, they're trying to keep viewers interested into the show. And that's going to be used to hook them there. It's kind of like the whole first episode of Naruto Shippuden, where they had the whole search for Sasuke when Naruto, Sakura, and I think, was it Kakashi who was with them, or was it Yamato? I really want to say it was Kakashi, but I think it was Yamato. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Opening plays, da da da. So we get to the real first scene of the show, where you see this girl waking up after, this big ass alarm rings in the morning. And I was quite I wouldn't say quite confused, because I already knew a little bit about this anime. But you see this girl get up, and she's waking everybody up, talking about, get up, we gotta get ready, da da da. Gotta get ready for breakfast. And you see nothing but a bunch of kids in these white uniforms. And it turns out that they're in an orphanage, and it's about like 38 kids. The mom mentions it's 38 kids, who we end up seeing a little bit later. But Emma gets up, she's end up helping these kids out get ready for breakfast, and she was walking with this one kid, and another kid came and pushed her from behind. I think it was Ray. I can't remember for sure. But they were gonna get ready to start play fighting and whatnot. One of the kids were like, "Man, you should act more mature. You're 11 years old. You're one of the oldest kids here." Her mom comes out and she's talking about how she loves and cares for her family. And they make a little mention to how she's 5 years old at heart, and she really is. Honestly, she's really energetic. But her mom basically states that, yo, I really love the fact that you care about your family, you care about the kids. And Emma, you can see, is one of the really mature kids there, and she's caring a lot for her family. That's what sets her apart from a lot of the other kids. She helps her mom out with everything practically. I say her mom like that's her birth mother, but no, that's the mom of the orphanage. She's the motherfucking mother of all them kids. Now we see the kids taking some type of tests. Okay, and it's like they gotta answer 11 questions in under 10 seconds each or whatnot. It's just a basically quick thinking test, which it's, I suppose, used to test their intelligence. Now, this made me think about Death Note, as I stated earlier. I don't know if it's like some type of version of Whammy's House for those who do know Death Note, where they have all the gifted kids like Mello and Near there, who are trying to become the next L or become L's next successor or whatnot. But we do find out later what the purpose of this orphanage is. Now, these kids take this test, and we find out some character background out of this test. Now, the three perfect scoring kids are Norman, Emma, and Ray. One of the kids explains that Norman is the smartest out of everyone in that orphanage. He's got enough smarts combined to outmatch everyone intellectually. Ray is good at solving any type of problem or any situation in which he's in. And Emma, she learns fast to keep up with all three of them. All three of them, as I said, got perfect scores, so you can tell these are going to be some smart motherfuckers in this series. Now, one of the kids challenges Norman to a game of tag, And I guess they played. I never, I was never a big player of tag, but I know one person is it, and I didn't know they have to tag every single body in the game to win. Like I thought you just tag one other person, then they're it. Then they tag somebody else. So basically, they play tag in which Norman is the one who has to tag everybody to win, which he always ends up doing. He always ends up tagging everyone to win the game. Now the name of this kid I think is Don, right? So Don is walking around trying to look for Norman, and he stumbles upon one of his friends, Connie, in the orphanage. And he's looking at some giant ass footprints. He's like, "Oh, okay, that must be Norman right there." But Norman comes out of nowhere, tags him, and he's like, "Man, you don't think about situations. You just rush right into them. You don't strategize. You don't observe to think that there can be anything else at foot," which really seemed like some real L shit to me, man. I swear to God, he seems like he's the kid who I think is going to be the L of this series. He's smart as shit. As they said, he's one of the most intellectual kids out of that entire orphanage. Now, the game ends up being between Norman, Emma, and I think Ray's also in the game as well. But Emma's basically running from Norman, and Norman goes to try to chase after her, but he ends up slipping, right? Boom, just falls down. And Emma, being the concerned fellow orphan that she is, she goes over there to try to check on him. She's like, "Norman, are you hurt?" He's like, "I'm just pretending." Boop, tags her and gets her out. Which definitely seems like some L shit that L would do. He'll fucking trick your ass, man. Ray comes up to Emma and asks Emma, like, "Yo, what do you think that Norman is good at that you're not?" And Emma's trying to think, but Ray basically tells her, like, "Yo, he's good at strategy. That's what he's good at." Like, and which is obviously another callback to L. Like, I got a lot of L vibes from this Norman kid. I swear, man. I watched Death Note back in January. I finished the whole 37 episodes, whatnot. And man, I got a lot of Death Note vibes from this kid. Also, from this scene, they mentioned that the mother is also good at chess, which is something that'll tell you about her intelligence and how she's smart as well. And that'll have you thinking, like, because she's going to be the big proponent of this series, as I know so far. So it's good to know that. It's a little bit of foreshadowing of what's to come. But Don challenges Norman to another game of tag, and everybody, of course, is starting to run off and play and whatever. So Emma and Norman end up running, and they go near the fence. And this is where the whole fence scene happens, where they're like, "Oh yeah, Mom said don't go near the fence. We'll get in big trouble. It's used to protect us from what's outside there." And basically, Ray comes up, and he basically doubts this whole fence's dangerousness. And they're over here talking about the fence and, talking about how the other world on the outside could or could not be dangerous. And everyone else comes over next to them, and they start talking about the outside world. And I think Emma mentions that they never got letters from their siblings after leaving the orphanage. They leave the orphanage at age 12, whatnot. And everybody's talking about what they want to do afterwards. But primarily from this scene, you get that Emma and Connie, they love their mother, and they'll do anything for her, basically. Like, they don't believe she's lying to them or anything like that, and they honestly don't want to leave the orphanage. They want to stay there. Now, after this scene, we get taken to a scene where it's nighttime, right? And Connie basically ends up disappearing. Emma and Norman go out on the look to look for her, and they're investigating the gate. They're like, okay, let's see what's happening at the gate. And I think Emma sees Connie in a truck getting ready to go somewhere, whatnot. She thinks she's leaving the orphanage. And there's this little drop of water that keeps, like, and it catches Norman's attention. It's a little drop of water that catches Norman's attention. They're over there investigating that. And then the two kids hear, like, some voices. As like, "Yo, somebody here, somebody here." And basically they see, like, these big ass ghoul looking monsters who basically bought Connie up to use her as food, right? They're gonna use her, eat her flesh or whatever. And this whole time that these ghouls are talking, you hear that kids from the orphanage are being used for food, basically. Every single kid at the orphanage is being used to be eaten. And like the flesh from that orphanage is of the highest quality, which I gotta say is some weird shit, man. But after hearing this, Emma asks where's mom at, because she thinks mom's gonna come and help Connie or whatnot. But she sees that their mom is there. She's the one who fucking sold Connie to the damn ghouls. Now, the head honcho tells the mother, like, yo, these four with the highest marks, prepare them for plucking, right? He wants Emma, Ray, and Norman to be prepared to be eaten and sold or whatnot. So, perhaps it's something with the intelligence, why they go through a strict ass intelligence test. Maybe it's something with how intelligent they are that makes them taste better. Maybe it's something that their intelligence may make the people who eat them smarter or whatnot. I don't know. But they say they want Ray, Emma, and Norman to be prepared to be eaten. And the mother basically complies. Emma and Norman end up running off, getting ready to go to the house and whatnot. And Emma's just questioning, like, yo, man, are we only good for food? That's what happens? You know, that's what happens to all our siblings. They all got sold off and eaten. We're only good to be eating as food or whatnot. That's our whole purpose of living here. And that's when Norman proposes the whole idea of like, yo, fuck it. We all got to get out of here, man. We got to escape. Let's escape. And Emma basically asks, just us? What about everyone else? And then she questions, like, how are we going to do it? And Norman, confident as hell, is like, shit, strategy. That's how we're going to get up out of this shit. And basically, you know, that's the whole premise of the series is going to be them escaping from this orphanage. Now, to get into my thoughts portion of this video, man, because that's everything that happened with episode 1, I got to say, it's a fantastic start to the series. I'm definitely interested in this series 100%. I say after the first episode, I definitely want to continue watching. Now, the primary thing that got me excited, as I stated repeatedly throughout this episode breakdown, is that Norman reminds me a lot of L from Death Note. Okay? This kid is based all around strategy. He treats life like it's a game of chess, which is something that L always did as a detective when he was investigating the Kira case. And especially how he's like, you know, we're going to escape. All of us are going to escape. And the motherfucker Emma asks how. She's like, on strategy. And it's just like, that's something L would fucking say, man. Death Note, like I said, I watched it at the beginning of the year, right? Okay, because I'm getting into like all this old anime and shit. I wanna immerse myself in all types of anime out there. So Death Note happened to be one of them, and I fucking love Death Note with a passion, man. And this kid reminds me a lot of L. That's why I'm excited to continue on with the series to see what happens with him, because it's just like, it's like more motherfucking L content from Death Note, man. I can't wait for that alone. But to see how Emma and everyone else is going to escape from the orphanage, I'm really interested in see how that's going to happen, because that's not going to be no easy feat, especially against the mother and probably all the monsters out there too. It's really interesting, man. So for the first episode, honestly, I really enjoyed it. I'll give it an 8 to 8.5 out of 10. The plot was good. You know everybody practically who's in that orphanage. You know all the main guys. You have good character background to the 3 supporting characters. You know exactly what the premise of the series is. I honestly enjoyed this episode, so I'll give it an 8 to 8.5 out of 10. And I can't wait to see what happens with the next episode. But with all that being said, this is my thoughts on episode 1 of The Promised Neverland. Can't wait to see episode 2. We'll have the review up next week, Wednesday. This is Ray Rawlins from the Ray Rawlins Network. You like what I do? Hit that like. You don't? Hit that dislike. Leave a comment. Tell me how much you love me or hate me. And subscribe for a brother and help me get to 500. Peace out, everybody.